Please share the video. I don't think I want to play music. It's very late on my end. But if you can share the video, I'll see if I can play it on. But uh, uh, I want to make sure I'm not waking people up. Thank you, everyone. Okay, I'm going to share the link right away. Madid, can you pin the link for me, please? Mm. Agwad, welcome, buddy.
Facebook Jacob alone.
Huh?
Facebook Jacob.
Malo?
I just spent for 7 days.
Nah?
Facebook I was suspended for 7 days, man.
Inchi suspended for 7 days?
I will.
Work?
Because of China. Eh?
Uh,
As any banget. Well, banget aban jamzat. So what's up?
good, how are you, buddy? How you doing with your family, man?
Oh, they're good, you know. I Paul was here, they're very well, yeah. But I like your show. Your show was good. So yeah, but you depend my shackle, but now they are planning to fight now. We be by right. Can I 1 second?
Yeah.
Bro, what's up? So I saw the topic, brother.
Yes, Peter Kane. Good. Good. How are you doing?
Yeah, long time, yeah, Hui.
Yeah.
And
Long
it chat
time, man.
and it
Huh?
chat your Facebook and it chat your Facebook. I chat your.
We ke chop man. Gujala mediten ne ran je media de me ku buka main contributor then chan bia ne uk ben tin ben uk jinubin.
Because of China, brother. Because of China.
Because of China.
Yeah, you know, man, and it's all participate. Kung anya to Doctor Arakana, who are suspended, who are fired from the UN.
Uh,
Yeah, you know, because mistreatment of African in China is now become the issue, you know, and I've been doing a lot of comments, so they don't like that, you know.
no, a good eh.
Mm?
Kuwich ba daten.
Mm?
Alang propaganda video de kating. Yan tag da ka video kadang ka tell Facebook karan yang pi China.
No. I can't get you, and I got
No, no, no.
I can get you chair.
Cái balagi dan alang
Mm.
propaganda lo ten yan China cái đằng cái chol tong tong economy cái này koir yan China wi ga bulu break bi Africa man men do la it cái đằng Europe men koi ba ten na chan mo ku week anything asa yan men jo tan cái rut ay nyo cái chuyện ran pa nyo cái ko jet ku pin pa nyo cái ko lo ngo pa nyo cái ka tat ka nak African kai ding yan ran good ran jedur wo chu ka jedur war bai ran good ka ken ran tong ba na kam ki lo istemar
No, unta taban kina la silen
so da leyin lo ka
Benjamin
shida kai
Esa.
da leyin lo ka
No,
shida kai
taban.
ba ba la ga
No,
de chu den ka
no,
Facebook la mi ka la kai
aje ga lutina untu ya brother aje ga a chalu share da kire kan mataban siyasa kawai maru baslan because sabab na gar mabiyo ci wancan ne nagin so taban ne kan wada you know taban mob the propaganda aslan ko ga ce sa you know sinu jam ka ka farka lagi taban sin is a good partner ka African aslan you know whether is sin will was will is a chu aslan you know we need to stand on our own.
no
You know?
yes I got ken taw sin pragmatic ya sin da wajen gudu bule kalam kan o alwela ko ay wo kala ko gam wo ko yen gugin kan ay ci alwela na waj ken go
I disagree.
camping
I
camping
disagree with you,
aji
brother.
sin aji alwela na waj ken go ko ba na ngi yelo gada ko ma di ba na mo ji the lerin ay dang wich pi sin ay gudun wich ku jalang we ka lerin na waj ko waj lekin ko ay ne awi
Bring
ku
you
buk
on later on later on when you see will kawai later on when come again kawai wa bige ke Bible ku Bible kai ko ba chue ke pinyu ke nya ku dong ke author nyale later on when come again
la
war
la
wuju
ke
kawai
ano
war wuju sin a chu ya sin lagi taban
da to
I
la
can
la
agree with you chalwa listen to me. I agree with you taban propaganda loy kawai aslan na ke sa because sometimes some of them are true because African are close to China, so we because young cake sin it can be here at mother cake, and that is actually a reality. So we cannot buy into that. But actually,
what what
sin is a good partner. Sin
no
is the
no
most corrupt.
what a cha alwela wo wa wisin bi partner alang ke pyo jo ware alwela
Mm.
Africa alang raw material kuna pal ke to manufacture because knew how to manufacture their own material bi ka jala ai ke finish good then ka Africa real ka dunia control alwela ka chi use technology ke da de ne ke in process bi jala yo ke chi process ku janden ga chi process ka bi ala mir ke krut ku nye bi ban lo ku jal dong num ke bula o lakin ki ban ki ki ban ka sin asa aye sin awi bo nyu de cell phone lo ka da ye dab du ye we kada da du ku tat ku du ba jala ga wi ka ken ken ne ma ne le ko ga ko kwa no ar yu ga kum yin ga a chu wi bi ki la wi tin bu ka nyu de jan bi ben ya go jalo ka na jan bu lo ku le ga ra ku ke lakin technology kana e pal bin men cha yo mun dang ben che mo kalan che mo tal ga tok dunya nam ben de kri
Lagi
ben
na
ben
a
ma
call
en
da
ma
a
ke ga
call.
le ke ga yo te ke de ko ka ya tinga bu ga nyut kwar chi ko tin bi sin bu la ko bi ko yo ge ne
Lagi
ma na jan bu bi ka ko
a call da a call
e ngadi
in
ko na
nine
jol ran che
in
betit
19
kan
in 19 in 1999 1999. when Khartoum government put the oil into the market, as PLM, as PLH, like senior, let leave the oil. He's seen well, I cannot leave it because a million Chinese can die, and a million Chinese will come. Because of that petroleum, Khartoum will be able to buy weapons to destroy us. And I would rather, associate with the West than associate with China. Not because I like the West.
A good
Actually, was near and West.
no,
Just hold on. Not because I like the West. Number two, recently, there was some police officers who hired from Zambia. Afarka telenge pop dal telenge pop fi hal chidi kan afarka a ku chang bi sin kwata sinin fi police department afarka sin ache ko pop without Fidel Castro most Africa won ka independent tan li na yol Fidel so afarka sin na sin adinge jok ache ko pop ke ay ku chang kwa chikan dedi ko ay kam ko lo na silan nazil ba
agod ka kaide kin ka kaide kin yini ki kun East Africa history alang toy alang alang history British
is African chicken joke no
agod listen no agod listen na toy music agod waren bi sin leke ga British one leke sin tamar alang sin ke ga bay go to wa ke Kenya wala Indian ci kala bay ku nyaka ke South Africa kala Zambia na war le jam wale ga bay sin ga idon aral ke yemen aral Zambia koy ga British la ka bay bi bu nyanga bay nyang South Africa ji do don ga lokal ga kita boleh kan asyik kau ke suka kau ben kau kalau baik itu juga lo aku kabar kau baik kenyang apa China tu ngapa kan ring jeruk di Zambia undi dia nu kau nyai undi apa ya kau nyai bukan yang Zambia bukan dia tu after generation to generation dan aja tahu polis itu lah larang tu tahu polis lah Jadi cakap tentang China na. Ada yang kita ni kaya bat 1%. Bahkan dengan China, tu wan le, ni nak ni tu Facebook. Dia kaya lo lagi. Cium deh, lo tahu nama lagi. Wah, British yang kaya, orang China jika yang Zambia, kalau China jika yang Kenya, kalau yang South Africa.
Okay.
Right,
a good and a call.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's put that conversation apart and let's start and continue with the topic. First of all, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. If you were here earlier, like me, please thank you for being loyal. If you just joined, we had a part 1. It is the same topic, but I always wanted to give people a chance. And I should have ended the show and go to bed, but I'm doing this for you guys. It's all for the family and to hope for the peace to continue in our country. So the topic is simple. We had yesterday on the 3rd. Today is the 4th. We had an article where someone provided to us. He's concerned that, we have been blaming the government and IO. But what is the role of the other armed groups and political parties? And that's the question tonight. What is their role? I will come back to you later, but I'm going in order in which you joined earlier and also on this show. So I will give this chance to Chinkwash.
No, but you cutting me off because I didn't finish. I gave one of his members a chance so that he can go to work. So let me finish so that Chinkwash.
Okay, wrap it up in 2 minutes.
Yes. So
go on, but stop speaking in Dinka, brother.
No, that was not me. And you know, I can understand both. I can understand Shankwas, and I can understand you know, Toknath and Tokjang. But yes,
Even me, I'm a jam tung monjang, but
yes,
you know,
yes, yeah. Ngay Toknath along. So one thing here, I'm glad that Shankwas is here and he's the representative of IO. So Shankwas, all I want you to advise IO, if you have direct communication with them, is that
that is not the topic. Now you are losing your
no,
track.
I'm coming. Listen, the IO have to join hand with the government and then sign
No,
peace. And
there
then
is
after,
no government. There are two parties into the government.
yeah, that's the Western language. So after that, then the small armed forces who are now anti-peace and anti the progress of South Sudan need to be confronted with the military so that we can combat out all these rebels in our bushes. That is the only solution, because majority of them, you know, just left the government. What makes Thomas Rilo have no agenda? He's just saying that Nuer and Dinka have to leave Equatoria. You know, he have no agenda that the government should negotiate with that kind of person, that they are fighting to remove Dinka and Nuer out of the government. You know, and what I would love our people here tonight to listen is that after this peace agreement, let us stop glorifying people. Let us stop tribal mindset, whereby if Riak is removed from the government, for example, or Pagana Mom is removed, for example, then the whole tribe will join him and say that, oh, the government is wrong. You know, that ideology is spoiling our country. As Dor Largin stated earlier, I agree with Dor Largin that let us stop glorifying any individual who is in the government. He's just working for his money. He's just there to make his family, you know, better by holding that position. He's got only his paycheck to only himself, you know. And I believe if we do that, it will stop our politicians from stealing money from the government and try to benefit the tribe to support him whenever he wants to rebel. That's what we need to stop. If somebody rebel, let him go to the bush by himself and then face the law of the country. We will have a progress in our country and we will have a peaceful mind. Let's stop tribal mindset, whereby you think if anybody from your tribe is removed for wrongdoing in the government, you guys will mobilize and try to back him up and support him. That is not going to help our country. We all need to rule. We all need to lead South Sudan. Let's just be together and let's start from individual so that we have peace. All these tribal mindset people, just start from you and say, look, I'm a South Sudanese. Be a citizen. Think idealism, you know. Be a person for all the tribe of South Sudan. You know, you know, we are all equal. We will see each other as brothers and sisters in our government, and then let acquire the position of the government through our parties. If you are SPLM party and you are from Mahdi or Taposa or Didinga or Latugo or Lopet or Nuer or Dinka or Bongo or Partit, then the SPLM, SPLA, the SPLM party will nominate you based on your qualification in the party. And then you will be voting to rule our country based on your qualification. You know, if you think that the tribal mindset will let you lead the country, it is not going to work in our country, because some tribes are very small and some tribes are big. And this is why it is good that we group ourselves into parties and then compete in South Sudan as parties members. You know, join any party and then come up with your qualification and show South Sudanese that you can lead through the party. And the party will recommend you based on your qualification to rule our country. If you come in as an MP, then let's wait for the constitution to be corrected so that you can compete and contest in your constituency. If you win, you will come to Juba and then be a legislative member to correct the constitution or amend it any wrongdoing in our country. This is the only way that can help our country, you know. Charles I know somebody mentioned the recruitment of soldiers earlier. You know, I will give example of Matianganyor. You know, when Matianganyor were recruited, every state was required to contribute 1,000 youth, but some states declined. The movement in majority, and that's why they are still holding gun now in majority. It is not a South Sudan that recruit one tribe or some other tribe to be majority in the government. It was during the movement there were some people who joined the movement in group, especially Nuer and Dinka. They joined the government in a big group, and up to now you cannot disarm them and say that you cannot serve the country as soldiers. You know, it is a job. You know, it is a grave job. If somebody fought for many years, liberate the country, or some people claim that the country was not liberated, yet they fought and then they threat and make Arab come to the table. Whatever you said it. They make South Sudan independent, and now some of them are even holding gun while they are wounded with 3 to 4 bullets. You cannot go and take arm out from them and say, we want to have equilibrium army, as Majanga God said, that we have to have equilibrium army. No, you are doing the mess. Let wait until they get all retired and go home, and then we will correct the way our country work. You know, because those people, you know, otherwise you give them each $1 million and send them home, and that's the only solution. But if you have no money in the country, let them stay there, get their salaries until they retire, and then the young generation will come after them. You know, because now is claiming that the military is composed of Nuer and Dinka, and now they are saying Nuer and Dinka has to leave. If that's what Thomas Cirillo in the bush, I love that the IO and the government finish their peace, and then we will go to bush, hand them one by one, because the amnesty policy have to stop within this peace agreement. I mean, both president and vice president with other vice president have to go on television and say enough is enough. There will be no amnesty anymore. If somebody go to the bush, put himself as a military general, and then come back and demand that he have to be given peace, you will still be held accountable and fire squad or taken to jail for your wrongdoing. And otherwise, Thomas Cirillo with a real movement of those of Pagana are playing a fire that they won't overcome. It is the right time now for them to join the peace agreement. And if somebody is supporting them and online here tonight, it is the right time to join the government now, so that we can iron down or solve all the issues that are facing our country, so that we get out of rebellism and we get Kawajat out. They don't want to go away from South Sudan. If we have peace, as John Garang said, that we tell them that put my janjara batakumde, you know, we will remain and use our factory. I call the land. This is the only factory we have in South Sudan now. We don't have industry. We need to cultivate. Let's have peace so that we can cultivate enough food to feed our people, you know. And later on, maybe after generation to generation, our country may have factories so that everybody can go to the town and work. But now, let's have peace so that we can cultivate and have food for all of us to make food cheaper in the country. Now we rely on neighboring countries to deliver food to our country, and our people are getting lazy for getting free UN food. If generation is born in the camp, grew up and married there, they can't even help themselves. They don't even know what to do for themselves. And we can't mind about them, you know. Then where are we going? We need everybody to rely on him. I mean, to rely on her or himself, you know, working with his hand or her hand in our country. And let's forget about all these UN. whereby you attack people, you rebel, and then you try to go to UN camp and complain to Kawayat gal PP Kabilie Ukabila de Yao Kabir, woman Katulnas, then you lie and sell the country. That is not going to help our country. Our country will remain the shithole, as Trump said it. Let's have peace, and then let's join parties, and then compete. If you think you are capable to lead South Sudan or capable to lead your constituency, join the peace. Let's correct the constitution as IO and the government are working on it. After it is correct, then you will come compete and then win and come to the government that have peace and that have no corruption anymore, because our constitution will hold everybody. Otherwise, we are equal. You know, all indigenous languages of South Sudan in our constitution are considered national languages and shall be respected and developed and promoted equally. It is there in our constitution. So people shouldn't go and rebel and lie that, oh, you know what, this and this happened, this Gabila and this tribe, you know, completely that is tribal mindset. And tribal mindset are the people who think about their tribe, that their tribe is everything, their tribe is what they want to do. They want to hear that men from their tribe have done this, you know. The same refer to idiotic people. Idiotic people think that they are the one who know everything. They are capable, but let all be idealists. Kawaya del woman idealists. We want to rule the world. Yes.
No degradation language. There are no idiotic people. Whatever you mean, just want to let people know that doesn't matter whether you have a language barrier, but at least if you want to hear your opinion, we can let you talk.
Yeah, Madid, in this term, idiotic people is not an insult. People who are idiots are people who are smart, but they think of themselves. They don't think of other people, you know. And people who have tribal mindset are the people who think about their tribe.
Okay, 30 seconds.
Yeah, and people who are idealistic. They are idealistic. They think they rule the world. If you are a South Sudanese tribe, if you come from any tribe and you think that you want to rule South Sudan, don't think of your tribe. Come out, join SPLM, join any party, show your talent, how skillful you are, and then convene people like what John Garang did and rule South Sudan. If you join and say, oh, we are this Gabila, we're going to fight the government, that is not going to help our country. Just join any party. Let's group into the parties. Let's not forget about these tribal parties. The tribe cannot rule the country. This is what I have to advise our people tonight. Otherwise, the topic is good, and the topic is, you know, it is very broad. And then let's forget about glorifying people. Good is my cousin now. If government kick him out, I wouldn't say that I will take Good is kick out in the government. I wouldn't glorify him. He's looking for his job as a lawyer. He will work. If government kick him out, why should I go to the bush and say Good is fired? I have to fight and bring him back. So impatient is good. And I think Shankwaz and others here, Shankwaz was impatient. That's why he took arm as IO. But I'm glad that IO came back in peace. And thank you, Madid. I took time, but yes, I appreciate you a lot. I hope that I squeeze in a lot of words. That's what I need.
Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. Chinkwat, let me unmute you. You came and left and come back. I know you know topic very well, and I think you have something to say about it, because lately you have been really headed guy, you know, about how your boss is handling the situation of the party and how you guys are not whatever. So is this question relevant? Is it a real concern to us? You know, what is the role of the other parties and armed group?
All right. First of all, let me just greet all of you, especially the speakers on the podium with me. It is a great privilege to share this occasion with you today. As we know, we always been here discussing issues that are important and close to us, in terms of our country. You know, what motivated me to be part of this forum tonight is the fact that your show of question asked the people, and the question you have posted is credible. It is a question that should need us to intellectually discuss, either with evidence or with information, but they have to be information that are tangible. One thing we cannot do and will not be doing is to encourage hearsay informations. When we pass information that are not tangible and that are not credible, you cannot source them anywhere. And these will always cause problems, and they will continue to destabilize the country. Without even maybe going astray first, let me go directly to the topic, because I believe after going to the topic, that will encourage me maybe to touch a bit of some already said informations. First of all, Brother Peter, let me congratulate your Lake State Media and the team that you work together for the great work that you have been doing. I cannot condemn you and crucify you for 2 or 3 individuals that have crossed the line and make the show become unbearable for all of us. So it is sometimes very, very hard for a host to control what will come out from somebody's brain or mouth. It is up to individual to control what they are going to say in order for them not to cause havoc on the show. So I have to congratulate you for a good work that you have been doing over the few weeks, and I suppose the entire month of April. By so doing, you can see your show now. It has become a galvanizing superpower that is bringing all the factions, all the tribes of South Sudan together. And my advice to you, before I go to the topic, is that, you know, when you use a platform that is so conducive and so welcoming, it is sometimes very shameful if you allow it to fall or fail. So I encourage you and your team to make sure your forum does not fail. And how does the forum fails? We have seen a lot of forums that comes and go, and the reason they fail are because the host and those who manage the forum fail to identify the problems that are discouraging other people from participating. So I'm just here to encourage you and motivate you to continue with what you have been doing. Anybody that is here to sabotage the others and make other people feel inferior, you cannot give them platform. And also, I do encourage that we all love our languages, but sometimes there is a point in time when our languages become a point of content, where if you speak and we are 500 people, maybe 300 people does not, speak Nuer. So if I start speaking in Nuer, then the 300 people will disappear in a blink of an eye, and you are losing, your members. But if you want to create a linguistic, topic, it is also encouraged. You can do that. I have no problem with it, and I can come and listen. But let me go now to our topic. I was just highlighting the good work that you have been doing. In regard to the topic, Brother Peter, and all the viewers, we can run back and forth, but the reality must remain that in the Republic of South Sudan, there is no any factions that can be able to fight Juba regime or SPLM-IG, which is led by Salva Kiir, apart from the SPLM-IO. The fact must be stated clearly. These people, or these factions that we are hearing today, some people call them briefcase parties. These are parties that I term in my own terms as mischievous characters that are here to prolong the civil war and the conflict in the Republic of South Sudan. One, they have no identified agenda as to why they can take arm or rebel, apart from issues that were created because of the conflict in the Republic of South Sudan after December 2013. They forgot that there is an umbrella that is carrying those grievances, and that umbrella is the SPLMIO. And that is why I always say, if I were them, the only option for us to, to shorten the length of the civil war in our country and bring about peaceful settlement of this disagreement is to make sure all the groups that consider themselves as opposition to the SPLM-IG of Salva Kiir should join hand and forces with the SPLM-IO. And then this become a two-loggerhead where we are only discussing issues between two parties. And this will narrow the gap and will make us to achieve peace in the shortest time possible. Unfortunately, because we, the people of South Sudan, we have mischievous characters among us, they don't want things to be concluded in the shortest time possible. They always want to fight for their own hidden agendas. Some people can call them, nepotism, tribalism, and all those. But I call them, some individuals are fighting for their self-interest. If their self-interest is not addressed within the SPLM-IO, they will opt to go and form a different faction or different party. Not because they will have weight, they will not have weight, but they will always try to confuse the environment and make the environment so unconducive. And this is what we have seen from these factions. So if you have asked this question, it is credible. It deserves our attention, and we should discuss it in length as to why these groups continue to hold themselves hostage, because it is not we in the SPLM-IO, neither is it the SPLM-IG that is keeping these people outside. It is their own choice. It is their own intention. And the intention is to prolong the civil war and the suffering of our people. One of them came earlier, and this is my brother, Doa Largin. Doa Largin initially was with the SPLM-IO. I don't have to go in detail of the point where there was a contentious disagreement. But what I have to say about this individual, and I'm giving an example with my brother, Doa Largin, is that when you fracture yourself into minute organizations, your voice will never be heard. But when you come together as a group, regardless of your own individual ego, you will always be heard. And that is why I always blame these groups, and I term them as mischievous characters, because if it was not because of their miscalculations, we would have ended this war by the year of 2015, 2016. We would never have gone back to war again. But because these mischievous characters, they are hunting, and they continue to hunt, Brother Peter. And even now they are continuing their hunting process. That is why they are not happy with any step taken, because they know that any step that will be taken to arrest the current conflict and bring about a peaceful settlement, it will give them no weight. They will be seen by the people of South Sudan as betrayers. How are they going to be seen as betrayers? One, these groups, remember, they were the one that echo the voice of this one we call the Red Card movement. What was the intention of the Red Card movement? It was to render Salva Kiir and SPLM-IO chairperson, Dr. Riek Machar, meaningless. They want to say Salva Kiir must go and Riek Machar must go, but they have no clear agenda lay forth that we can follow. One, that's two. Number two, they call for, the trusteeship. They want they want the Republic of South Sudan to be handed over to the United Nations trusteeship. This is an agenda that we cannot accept because someone is making noise at the background. This is an agenda that we cannot allow to have a space in our political arena in the Republic of South Sudan. This country come because of our, relentless fighting over the years for self-determination, for the fact that we want to have an independent country. Now, once we achieve our country, there can be no anybody that will come to us and tell us, let us hand the ownership of our country to somebody else. What does this mean if we do it? And if they succeeded, it would mean that we, the people of South Sudan, are nobody. We have got no brain. We have got no any ideology, and we fought for nothing. That is why when they came up with the agenda, those who believe that we can be able to arrest our situation and bring about a peaceful settlement, we say no. The SPLM-IO say no. We cannot give trusteeship to the United Nations. And I believe the SPLM-IG of Salva Kiir did the same. All of us had a united voice that say we cannot give the ownership to a different organization. We are the owners of that land. We are the custodian, and we must be the carers of this country. It is our collective responsibility to denounce any party or any individuals that want to gear us toward, a possession of somebody else. The other thing I have to mention, Brother Peter, your topic, the role that these individuals will play are very limited. They will not play any positive role. The only roles that they will play is to make sure that this peace fails, so that they will be telling the international community, they will be telling the international community that these two factions, the IO and the RG, can never bring peace. It is we in the so-called real SPLM, or the SOMA as an umbrella, that will bring peace to the people of South Sudan. If we fail, our failure becomes a positive to them. And that is what we cannot accept. And that is why one person came earlier and said, the SPLM-IG of Salva Kiir, the SPLM-IO of Dr. Riek Machar, the SOA, the South Sudan Opposition Alliance, and all the other parties within the peace agreement. It is their constitutional right now to make sure that this peace is protected and implemented in letter and in spirit, and let them not allow it to fail, because if they allow it to fail, it will play to the positive hands of who? Of these mischievous characters that continue on daily basis to play down the peace or the positive step in peace that we have taken. The third thing that I want to mention, these parties, and this is what I blame, the SPLM-IG led by Salva Kiir. The reason I blame it is because, Salva Kiir is a president. He is leading, the SPLM-IG, which was the R-TGONU, the former R-TGONU with Taban Dengai. It is up to them to make sure that what they sign in the documents is implemented, so that they do not give these people outside the peace agreement voices, so that they do not allow these people to have a space to maneuver around and bring the agendas of handing over the country responsibility to the United Nations. So I blame the SPLM-IG for not showing, the willingness to bring an end to this conflict through peaceful process as signed in the document. If they are willing to implement this document, by now we should have formed the national, government. We should have had our parliamentarian in place. We should have had our our state government in place. We should have had our counties and Payam and all this. And now we should be working furthermore to implement all the other things that have been signed. Our failure now, the consistent failure of the SPLM-IG and the SPLM-IO and all the parties to implement this document as soon as possible. It is playing a positive role to this group. You guys call them the whole art groups. I call them the mischievous groups or mischievous characters. It is playing them in a positive way because some people will continue to lend their ears to them, although they are not part of the peace agreement. And that is why you see them coming here every day, talking negative rather than a positive. There is no one that ever come to you here on your show, Brother Peter, to tell us a way forward. There is no one. No one ever come here to show us a better way forward. Rather than just saying, oh, SPLM-IO, RG will never implement this peace. And that is why I can never work with these people, because unless they define their way forward, if they don't have a way forward, I cannot work with them. Lastly, when we were negotiating the peace process, when we were in the battle, on the battleground, these people, they didn't want to be part, of the war. They didn't want to arm themselves to push Salva Kiir out militarily, because this was the only way. If anyone want to come and start a new beginning, they would have, joined the army. They would have joined the opposition and fight to oust Salva Kiir militarily. Unfortunately, they did not do that. SPLM-IO went on the peace table with hope that we can bring this suffering to an end on the table. These people were invited to join the table. Again, they turned it down. And that is why I always ask them, what is it that they want to achieve in the Republic of South Sudan? You call them to come and arm themselves and let us fight the war. They don't want to be part of the war. You invite them to be part of the peace process. They don't want to be part of the peace process. What do they really want? And it is your duty as the host of this show, Brother Peter, and any of the other hosts that are conducting their shows, to hold these people to account so that we, the people of South Sudan, will understand where they really belong. What is it that they really want? Because now we are in the quest for peace without the barrel of guns. And they yet contest, what do they want? What do they want from us? Now if the SPLM-IO fail to implement this peace with Juba regime or the SPLM-IG, they will not join the IO in the bushes. And that is why I said in one of my shows that these people, I condemn them to the maximum, and I hold them responsible for prolonging this civil war and conflict. And now they are continuing to cause more confusion to our innocent people of South Sudan. And let me conclude by saying this. Brother Peter, we cannot have peace if people are not willing to have peace. I always say that you can take cows to the river with hope that they will go and drink water and you bring them back home. But it is up to individual cows to drink the water. You can never push that cow to drink the water. So now we have brought peace on the table. The SPLM-IG, the SPLM-IO, and all the other parties to the peace agreement have signed the peace agreement. and brought it to the people of South Sudan. It is up to these whole-out groups now to either accept peace or continue with the negativity, and then in the end, the prolonging of our suffering shall continue. You can see just last week alone what they have done in Equatoria, I think Central Equatoria or Western Equatoria. They signed a declaration of the cessation of hostility with the SPLM-RG, and yet now they are attacking the SPLM-RG, which is party to the Rome Declaration. And again now they are attacking the SPLM-IU, that is a party to the peace agreement in Juba. Now, what do they really need? Where can say, let me say this, where will they survive? If the SPLM-RG and the SPLM-IU succeeded in this peace, if they succeeded in this peace, and I pray that it will succeed, if it succeeds, where will these people go? Because if they continue to advance the war, that means wherever they are, they will be dug out. We must go to where they are to dig them out, because we cannot allow the suffering of our people to continue.
Well, the math is simple, okay, Chinkwa, the math is simple. Yeah. If they work on, if let's say you guys implement the peace agreement and they are still fighting, I am sure it will come down to where you guys are going to negotiate with them for another peace. But that's my assumption. But hey, this is actually it's a trend. This is how European want
what are we going to negotiate with them?
So they can have, at least have an agreement, give them a position, whatever. But anyway, I will leave it right there. But the thing is, what if they said the IG and the IO, they are prolonging the peace agreement because the government is now partially formed. It's not fully formed.
And that is why, Brother Peter, I was saying earlier that I blame the spirit in which the SPLM-RG and the SPLM-IO
and do you believe is that the only IG, or is I also having a trouble getting their own members? If
no, that's what I just said. I'm talking in terms of, I have just said RG and the IO. I have not just said RG alone.
Okay.
So what I'm saying here, Brother Peter, is that, the longer it takes, it is what this whole art group wants. They want the SPLM-IO and the SPLM-RG and all the signatory to the peace agreement be rendered useless. They wanted these parties to the peace agreement be seen failures by the international community. That is the point of their advocacy. If you follow them correctly, you will find that what they are doing is advocating that these parties will never bring peace to the people of South Sudan. Now, that is why I blame these parties with the regular consistency in not arresting the differences. The longer it takes to form the government, the national government, the longer it takes to form the state government, the longer it takes to bring the unified forces together, the longer it takes, to hand over the security of the country to the new unified forces, it is playing to their negative campaign. And that is why I encourage that we now, the party to the peace agreement, it is encompassed unto us to make sure in letter and spirit we speed up the process. My point of conclusion here, and I will stay around in case I want to say something a bit later, if you wish. My point of conclusion is this. SPLM-IO went to Juba to implement the peace process or the peace agreement that we signed. And we believe that this peace can bring a lasting settlement to the disagreement that we have had. Through what? Through Chapter 5 of the peace agreement. In Chapter 5 of peace agreement, once we have peace, we will be able to speed up the legal process. We will have, the hybrid court set up, the local court set up, we will have justice and accountability, reparation, and national healing, which is the national dialogue taking place. But these processes cannot take place while we are in war. They cannot take place. There is no single country that ever achieved these agendas, the justice, accountability, reparation, and national healing, which is a national dialogue. They have never been achieved while in war. It's impossible. That is why we are encouraging our parties to make sure they bring peace to the people, so that these agendas will be discussed. And once these agendas are discussed and concluded, our country will be brought back, and it will be built to withstand any future disagreements. We will never go back again to the square that we have just witnessed. That is what we are saying. Thank you, Brother Peter. I will stay around if you wishes, but if there is no need, then that's okay. I'm happy. You can bring other participants.
Hang on there. Since you are official representative of IO, you have a place to say. So hang on there. Agwad, let me unmute you for a second. Agwad.
Okay, I'm good now, huh?
Yeah, you can.
Thank you, Brother Peter. Thank you, Shankwa. Thank you, Ding Akoy. Thank you, Gabriel Alat and Gadwij Roth. First of all, I want to greet your audience. I came early and I spoken my dialect with my brother. So, also I want to remind my other brothers, if you don't see me comment or share anything in Facebook, know that I'm out for 7 days because I was being suspended by the Facebook. Because
you are causing bugs.
I became radical because I don't.
No, because he supported the Chinese.
No. Actually, I'm against Chinese. That's why I don't tolerate Chinese behavior. Against our African brothers and sisters.
Then you are in big trouble because everything is made in China, including
that's now. Yeah, I'm gonna be in big trouble for sure. And. So, let's go to the topic. Chanko, thank you, my brother. I always appreciate your political, opinion. Even though we differ, and in politics we cannot agree together, and that's why, in my house, some were Republican, some were Democrat, but we stay together, and I want our people of South Sudan to understand that, in politics, we should not take it as a trouble, tribalistics or sectionism or other, way around. It isn't going to work. The problem in South Sudan, based on your topic, my brother, what the other arm can contribute, Mishkida, the peace in South Sudan. That was your question?
Mm-hmm.
P? Okay. I spell my O and I spell my G and Suwa and others who are now in the government, I truly appreciate them, They are doing the best they can to bring peace to South Sudan. But the issue is this. We, the people of South Sudan, we lack everything, And Dr. Yongaran said very clearly, said when you have weak people, you will have weak government, And exactly what happened in South Sudan, because we, the people of South Sudan, we lack political, ideology. We don't understand what is happening. And we can be confused by our own leaders because they are our tribe leaders or they are our cousin or say our clans. And this is actually what is killing us, Number three, until people of South Sudan can, like those 18 parties, can form a strong party to make sure the SPLM understand very clearly, there has to be a second party, a stronger party to challenge Arka Shabia. Because without another party, South Sudan is not going to go nowhere. Because now we have seen, this the agreement that we have, the September 12, 2018. It took so long, even when they came in, we have the round of dogfight in 2016, and then now we have revitalized, we you compromise, and now we have revitalization of peace agreement. Until today, there are no governors. There are no governors in the states, and now there is insecurity. There are those who have been left to run the country. They are so long the Aldur al Mawjud al Fil Walayat, they sold it off. to benefit themselves. You know, I need, and we all of people, so we need the government to speed up and form the governors. Get over your, egos. You know, what
Yeah.
important is the life of people of South Sudan. It's not about the, your big position, or you're gonna buy a lot of cows, or you're gonna marry a wife, you're gonna build houses. Those are not our business. You know, we need you to get the over your egos, get the governors out, announce them, let them go to the state and work. We are Genovine Finaya. We fought 50 years of war. The SPLM party is the only party in Africa that has defeated radicalization of Islamic fundamentalists. You know, and what after we become an independent, and we are fighting ourselves. You know, I want the SPLMIO, SPLMIG, the big brothers, plus the SO and others, to make sure that education in South Sudan will only be the solution for the generation to come, and food production, medical industry. You know, we need to feed our people so they can eat. If they can eat their medicine, their medication, there will be no more war in South Sudan. But as long as these three are not in place, my brothers, my sisters, it is just the beginning. You know, to not but now, like now they have their what we call the diversity. You know, actually, I agree with Charles Paul earlier. You know, diversity become the NAS, propaganda and NAS recruitment station. You know, the only opposition that I respected is that SPLMIO. That's the only opposition has the power. The rest, they are just only, lingering around. You know, so to the NAS and others who are not joining the government, we need them to join the government. You know, I don't want them to join them like that. They have to negotiate their peace, because if they join the government without a negotiation of peace or without an agreement, they will suffer. You know, because the government we have in power now, it cannot be trusted. These are I call them tryhards. You know, they are there to make money. You know, and what happened now? You know, you see people say Salva Kiir is a good guy. Yes, he's a good guy, but he's a leader. But in Salva Kiir, he understand. You know, he's supposed to support Constitution of South Sudan to punish people. Ajama Azol Bugulo Stalin, when the Stalin came to power after the Lenin passed on, Stalin has created ukatanas katir. Lakin for the sake of Soviet Union, if he hasn't done that, Makan Fiat Bugulo Soviet Union. He able to create Soviet after the Lenin to follow the Lenin, ideology. 71 years later, the Soviet ceasing to exist. You know, Arka Shabia, as film Canada, Kuluzul got it, Marat, be as film IO, as film, whatever, as real as film. In the end, if they cannot understand, if they cannot come together, as film party will cease to exist. Another party will take over. لكن الرسالة لكل المواطن الجنوبي يا جماعة أننا جنوبيين في النهاية. These parties does not serve our interests. These parties only disturb the stomach. Autonomous, they are there to make money. They are there to be in power. Like recently, we see a couple of ministers that get into the government. Some $1 million, like $1 million, had get lost in the way. You know, and Nasdol, they are not serving us, Ajama. We have more than 200 generals. When fil alam, حاليا الجيش ما قاعد يصرف. You know, البوليس تعبان. والمواطنين as في كورونا فيروس ده يا جماعه let's try to give credit to corona virus even though طبعا قتل ناس كثير في العالم لكن جاب لنا حل بسيط. as كل زول ما قاعد يسالي زول. What's up, brother?
Sorry, buddy. I gotta go out to my car for a little while. I
Got you.
gotta find uh,
You good,
a
you good.
test.
Okay.
You mind just hang out?
Yeah, you good. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll be there for like maybe 15
Yeah.
minutes, I think.
You got it. So طبعا يا جماعه ما لنا قاعد بشغل. You know, المسألة طبعا زي ما شفنا الكورونا فيروس جاب حل اصلا في العالم. You know, as الجنوبيين they are fighting, they are protecting the war that they're going to die tomorrow. It's a big ayan. He cannot go to Germany, he cannot go to America. They will die in South Sudan. So this will be a message. لكل أحزاب في جنوب السودان, they will build hospital, they will build clinics, they will support food production, and they will never install the money again. لأن القروية سرقوا they can even use it. So my final one, you know, to my brothers who are in the rebellion, in the end, نحن جنوبين أصلا. الحرب تانا طبعا الحرب تانا ما جلابة. You know, ودائما I'm very angry. لأن شوف يا جماعة the end of the World War II. You know, most of the Adolf Hitler, his associate or his remnants were not persecuted, but the Mossad of Israel hand them down one by one, and we have failed that. If we knew well we are angry, we would have not fight ourselves. We would have went after the NCP and we have hand down them one by one and eliminate them because they are the talk, they are the heinous, they are the sinisters. Like this is not good, So we have to come to our sense. The war we are pregnant ourselves will never bring peace to us. Let us try to come together. If you are in the rebellion, try to approach the government, try to come closer to that Film IG and make peace. In the end, peace will bring conclusion to South Sudan. So, my brother, I want to end here. Let us work together. Our division, rebellion will never bring us anything. Ukula Azab, the 18 parties in Sudan, unite together. Unite together and have one party, a strong party, to force SPLM party to do good thing. If there's no other party in South Sudan, SPLM party will never do anything. Because SPLM party has failed. They did not follow the principle of Darka Shabia. During the wartime, we execute people because of the eggs. If you steal one egg, you get killed over it. Now people are taking millions of dollars, and no one is touching them.
They
So
get
we
away with
need
it.
yes. So the constitution will be the solution to South Sudan, and the constitution the constitution always based on the culture heritage. You want to be treated the way we want it, not the way kalamta al book al kutub da kawajat. No, constitution diamond for our cultural norms. The way we want to live our life. And that's where we in the end we're gonna end on it. But education, food production, excavation of lake and rivers, so we'll have water to drink, food to eat, medicine to treat our people, and education to make sure that generation 20 years from today, it will be a different story. But if we cannot take education, South Sudan is not going to go nowhere. In fact,
Okay.
we will be the loser. So this is Shukran Jazilan. Let's try to hope more. I know that people have said we lost the hope. No, hope cannot be lost. Even though I die today, I know that there are people of South Sudan. There are people like Chankor, people like Peter, people like Gadwi, people like Deng Akoi, and others will take South Sudan somewhere. I'm not the only South Sudanese. Like Salva Kiir now, he loves South Sudan so much, and that's the problem. There are South Sudanese who love South Sudan more than him. We have to love South Sudan, but not to the extent that we become loose, in the end. Let us try to come together, work together, and forget about egos. Egos will destroy us. So thank you, my brother. I will exit from here and I will
Uh,
listen from outside.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brother Good. As always, welcome to Lake State Media, and thank you for being a part of the show. Uh, 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 Gentlemen, I know the order in which you all joined the show. I had to give this time to Gadwich Roy, and then Gabriel Alat will come, and followed by Ding Akoi.
Okay. Thank you very much, Peter, for welcoming me. It is my first time to join Lagos State Media. And the reason why I joined today is because the topic that you have put out there is very important, and I have a body for it. And that is why I was interested to listen and wait for my turns until I can put in my input. I would also appreciate all our brothers who have spoken already. This is the national agenda that you have put out, Peter. That is very important. And I thought that I can contribute what I think can be the way forward on the topics. As you have put it in the topics, what can others, armed groups, and other political parties contribute to the peace in South Sudan? Peace is a paramount important of everything. And as a people of South Sudan, we cannot achieve peace overnight. We need to protect this revitalized peace agreement. And what I think in the first place is who is the prime protector of these peace agreements? The people who are the prime protector of this peace agreement are the signatory to the peace agreement. And what is the crucial elements of this implementation is the unified forces. If the parties to the peace want to protect this peace, I will come back to the other political parties that have not formed, that have not joined the peace. If the parties to the peace agreement want this peace to be protected, they have to urgently implement the unifications of their armies. That is crucial because if these parties, if the Australian IO, SOA, and the IG, all the component of organized forces are unified and they are trained, they will take over protecting all the other part of South Sudan. And that will block any spoilers of the peace. But if, as we are seeing it now, it is, as Chamko has put it in the previous speech of his, it is playing out for the advantage of those who have not signed the peace. They will see, this is what we have been saying. Dr. Riek and Kir cannot work together. So for the government to be formed, now there is a partial formation. And we need the government to be urgently formed so that we have legislation in place, we have our state government in place, we have our counties in place, so that this one will help us in seeing who is the spoiler. And the parties to the peace agreement will prove that they can bring peace to South Sudan. But my fear as a concerned citizen is that the parties to the conflicts are not genuine. Why I say so? The government was formed, the partial government was formed in February. Now we are in May. All this time has been wasted. Now we have a scapegoat that the coronavirus is delaying all the process. But for myself, that is not the case. It is our sense of not being genuine to the peace that is delaying the full formation of the national, revitalized national government of national unity. So my advice or my take is that President Kiir, five by President and others, government organs of South Sudan have to work together to make sure that this peace is protected. And that is the way to identify the spoiler of the peace. And other ones is when we have the problem why we have this problem is because we have no national army that protect us. If we have the national army that is protecting the civilians, all the crises that we have gone would not have happened. They could have seen what the politicians are doing is really politics, and the army could not be involved. But because of the tribalism, because of corruption, because of illiteracy that we have in South Sudan, we are not differentiating the issues. And that is why the war is prolonged. So let us take this peace so that we protected it, especially the parties to the agreement should work together day and night to iron out their differences and put South Sudan first before their personal interests. Okay, the other parties that have not signed, to my understanding, is that the only chance that they will get, they are not contributing for the betterment of South Sudan now. They are playing negatively because they want to have their chairs, because they have been out of the fixtures of the peace agreement. So they will not get their their chairs, so they are fighting their way in. And if the parties that have signed the peace agreement are not protecting the peace, then this outside signatory like Soma and Nas under the umbrella will play it out and will tell the world, this is what we have been telling you. These people are not serious. And as also for accountability, for justice, everything is a process. Peace cannot be achieved overnight. So we form the national governments and put all the required function of the government in place. We can work out also, and if they have seen that what is being signed and what is being implemented is really truthful, sustainable, they will come. They are our brothers. They are our sisters. Maybe they have this doubt in mind that thing will not work out. So let us prove to them that we are really meaning what we are saying and what we have signed. So let the IG, the IO, and SOA prove to the other South Sudanese that are not signatory to this peace agreement that they mean what they mean. That is what I can contribute, Peter. Thank you, and I would also appreciate if you can bring other topics. Especially, I'm also interested in if we can have topic related to what is going on in Lagos State. I would be happy to contribute my input on it. Thank you very much, and thank you to all our listeners. May God bless South Sudan.
Thank you, Gabriel. Peter, I've just left a little bit to
Oh,
have a small break, and
oh,
I'm here also. I'm a member of Lake State Media, so I'm for some time, but for some time have not been host for a little while based on my work. But I know Chinquad already speak, and Gabriel, it will be Dean Akwe, if I'm not wrong. So Dean Akwe, go ahead and continue with the topic. Or Chinko, I believe you are a host. Do you have anything to respond on what Gabriel have said?
Sorry, I had to come back. The next person would be
Chinko.
no, it's Gabriel and then Dingakoi, followed by Francis. Chinquet will Chinquas will respond
Peter.
later after this gentleman. Okay.
Peter, have you mute me?
No, I have not mute your ball. So
Okay.
Gabriel,
All right.
yeah.
Yes.
I just want people to go on order. So it's Gabriel 10.
All
Go ahead.
all right.
Ball.
Okay. Thank you,
Control it.
Peter. Okay. Thank you, Peter. First of all, I would like to thank Brother Chenquez for your acknowledgement about Lagos State Media. So, which is
I
a
think
good spirit to appreciate about whatever you say. It was active or is participating to bring the people together, which is the media always is the center forum can bring all the brothers together to discuss the issues, can maybe contribute a bit of peace. That what is a good acknowledgement you have given to Lagos State. The thing I want to go back a bit, Chanquest, the agenda, I think, is clear, but we don't want to talk out of agenda. I want to like to say the armed group who are in the country are not participating in the peace or are not has been represented. There is a parties or group in the peace or in the national government. Exactly, I'm agree with the Gadwich. They are contributing negatively. They did not do anything. But let me say this: we have some parties now are present in the rehabilitation government. Suppose they send a message of peace. I can say it in a Nuer. I'm not Nuer. Chimal Ben, all right? Everyone, if you don't hear that, the peace is come. Why the peace is come? They just a bit of things in plate from the hand of president and the vice president or the vice president. Five of them, they should sit together and send the message to the South Sudanese citizens. What kind of that message? They say we are going to work together hand by hand, and we please from you guys to stop split inside the groups, inside the group who are signing the peace and are forming the governor. This لعبة بسيط دي ده هو جاب المشكلة عدم المصداقية في حكومة بتاع جنوب السودان حاليا. ما نلعب بعقل الزول اللي هو واقف معك. Already it up government. You are partner of government of IGA, as well as IGA. There is no need I'm going in other side to recruit your people or ask them to split to defect from you. Or they will come from me to defect from me. All right? This is ممكن يشكل بال الشعب بتاع الشعب السودان ما يقدر انه exactly they can believe how these people are working for the peace or they are playing something just to have a chance and manage their life and install our resources. There is accusation for that because if we are sent that message and we show that job نحن شغالين من أجل السلام وكلنا حكومة واحدة حكومة بتاع حكومة مؤقتة في جنوب السودان ما حكومة وجيش واحد جيش مؤقتة في جنوب السودان. انتجريتيشن هو اللي بيعمل في الجيش دي حاجة بسيط مسألة بتاع الاستيعاب جيش هسه بيتدرب في معسكرات بتاع الجيش القومي ده كل ده عبارة عن بيس ده عبارة عن implementation بتاع security agreement binding of security agreement. All the chapters you read it before Shamquest, if the people are need a peace in the South Sudan, this will be done step by step. They will not be sitting in a table to say we implement this and we go to this one we implement at the same day at the same hours. It will never happen. ما بيحصل. ده بيعملوها الليلة وبكرة ده بيعجلوا له بكرة بيعملوه وبيشوفوها عشان نجيب الناس تانيين. هسه حاليا لو قالوا الناس اللي هم arm group الموجودين في country وهم ما ضامنين في الحكومة من اللي هيقعد معهم؟ أكيد الرئيس هيفوز النائب الأول يقول سيد النائب الأول oppose you to be a head on mediation between the armed group and the government of South Sudan. You did your Riek Machar to achieve that goal. Like now, he is the deputy of chair task force in the country, was updating the coronavirus every day, every hourly. Why? Is to bring the people together, to highlight, to let the people know what's going in the country. He's a part of the government. يا اخوانا نحن نفهم اللعبة هنا دي في مسألة بتاعت القبلية. ميدان القبلية إذا لم ينتهي خالص, if the tribalism is not in, it will be difficult to come together. If we want to show the peace is come, let the group of the government who have been formed from the president plus vice president, including the minister of the national government, let them work together urgently by all means to form the state governors and then give the South Sudanese citizen the time for election when the election is going to be happen. If the people understand, last time we're talking about the renovation of the parties, Chanquas. Now, IO with the IG, they will look like coalition, plus other parties who are representing by the first vice president and the members of G10. All these are coalition in the government. Coalition, they should work hand to hand, all right, to bring the peace and to participate to talk with others, armed group who are not in the government to share. After that election, if there is somebody who still need to be defect from IO to go to the IGA, it will be up to them. This is the process of the election. دي بعد بودي الناس للنهاية لكن لما انت عايز تلعب بالناسي وانا معك في حكومة ده بيعتبر ده خيانة. عشان كده انا بشوف there is a mistrust between the two leaders or between the old the two majority parties who are in the government. Let them unite. Let them unite together and work under the government of South Sudan. Stop مسألة بتاع recruiting. They have to stop it. أنا مش ما عايز أطلع من البوينت دي brother Peter because لأن النقطة دي بتوجه إلى شنكويس وهو إنسان المعاني بالقضية بتاع آيو. إذا كان هنا مسألة أنا ما من IJ but I'm defending the constitution of the South Sudan. That's why you see me involved and show that point. So Sudan, they will be remain wherever Salva Kiir is gone, wherever Riek Machar is gone, wherever anyone, including ourselves. If we left, so Sudan will be still forever for the coming generations. All right, and we don't left South Sudan um in the same now. People are suffer. People at least they want to contribute things to say before we have made a peace twice and it failed. And then last in peace, we brought it to the country. And the country now is in a stable peace. ونحن هنخلي generation بمحبة والسلام في دولتهم لا للقبلية ولا لا للأحرامية بتاع الاختلاس ولا لا للناس اللي يعني يضرب فتن بتاع الكراهية. فتن بتاع الكراهية بيتكلم بيتحدثوا بالأسماء. أنا ضد الفلان فلان لو ما في انا ما بخش في الحكومه دي ما بينفع. انت اتكلم بالاوبجيكتيف. انت يا شمكوس او يا بيتر انت نسيت ده كنت معاك في الحكومه بتاعك عشان تستفيد به. ده الشعب عايزينه وده نحن عايزينه، لكن ما تشيل السلاح عشان تقول زي قبل لك ده كان بيتحدث لما اقول كان بيقول اقول ده اخوي، لكن انا عارف اقول له طردوه من الحكومه بكره بالضم. لا، ما علشان لو طردوني من الحكومه انا بتمرد، لا انا بقول بستني maybe I will still willing to get another assignment. It's not طردوك من ايو انت ماشي للجفرمنت. There is the reason the leader of Iowa was kicking you out from the position. Maybe you are contribute something a bit to return the people to the zero step. That's why they kick you out. Okay, review your attitude, review your story. If you have something wrong, come and apologize to your leader. This is a normal way. We are not talking about this is alive in the Western world. We have a good country, so we can benefit from that. So I don't want to talk too much, Peter. I would like to stop from this point, and I will still asking Brother Chemkot again. This is point of two leaders or the two leaders, especially IO and IG, to unite and send the message clearly and stop recruitment or defection. This is supposed to be sent by the two leaders. You are responsible about that one. If you are willing in IO to recruit from the IG to defect always, you can say that. And I'm not sure exactly from the government, as I'm in the government. Did they are willing to destroy this partner in the government, or they want to bring them together?
Okay. Thank you, brother Gabriel. Appreciate your input, your contribution. Yes. Chemquad will have a chance later to respond to you. But thank you. I'll let you go so I can bring new faces. I am also racing with the time. Hopefully, I will see you next time.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Hold on a second. Francis and Ding Akoi, I believe your order was Ding and Francis. So I'll give this chance to Ding, and then Francis, you come next. Ding, let me unmute you for a second. Go ahead. Welcome back to Lake State Media.
Thanks for having me. First of all, I would like to greet your guest speakers and also the audience or the viewers. For me to go straight to the topics, because the topic is very clear, it's about the arm. And all the parties and what are their participation for this fees to be implemented. That's correct?
Yes. What role is the other armed groups and other political oppositions? What is their role in this current peace agreement or in peace building as a whole?
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, based on my own observation and according to how the process of the peace moving, I might say that in fact all the participate in this peace agreement, especially participate is on the and
Dear, your network is really, really bad. You have a poor connection. So we barely hear a single word of what you're saying.
All right. Then, but let me try to use the landline maybe, because I was there. So let me try to use the landline. It may be better than the data, I think.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Do you hear me?
Not yet. It's still very poor. Just
Still very poor.
okay. So go ahead.
So you hear me clear now or not?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. Wow.
Yeah, that's okay now.
How about the rest? Yeah, that could be you. How about the rest? Do they hear me or not?
I think they do. Go ahead. Continue.
Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, for the peace and the implementation to be put in place, it should be all the parties to participate in this peace agreement. That's what will make the peace to be implemented. There's a number of the reason why other parties, they seem like they are not exactly recognized as a part of the peace agreement. One thing is that the IG and IO, they already starting forming the government. That's my old view. I think it could be one of the reasons make others party not to participate, because it looked like now IG and IO is, but it's not the all parties. And if it was the all parties, the formation of the government unity would not be the first priority. There should be a dialogue for the all parties and say, hey, look here, we need the country to be stabilized. So we need you to come back and let's participate. How can we take this country forward? Because it will not be reasonable if the two parties form the government. That government will not reflect the need for the entirely civilian or citizen of the country. So for that's one of the thing I think it is. That's one of the thing I think some of the parties are not exactly.
Okay. It's even I call it's even getting the network. The network is even bad. Try to come back. Try to come back in.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Process. Thank you for waiting. I'm sure you have read the topic. The question is simple: what role is the other armed group and all the other political parties are doing? So go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, Brother Peter, and thank you for Jankwas and all the viewer. I'm very glad today. It is my first time going to join your Lagos State Media.
Oh, welcome aboard.
Yeah. So basically, I've read the article, and then for us going to address this issue is
What happened to Francis? I cannot hear him.
I don't know. Look, frozen. I hope you probably get a call or something.
Okay, well, try Ding again if it's okay now.
Dean, go ahead.
Yeah, I
Try
think
while we are waiting
I
for
don't know
Francis.
whether it's okay now or not.
That's a little bit
Yes,
better.
it's okay now. It's a little
Little
bit
bit
better
better,
for
yeah.
sure. Yeah. It just start right. Dean, are you in Juba?
Hello.
Dean.
It seems like he's driving. I think he might have to stop driving as well.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, go ahead. Chinquat. Okay. Hold on. I have Francis, welcome back.
yeah. Sorry, I don't know what happened. This thing just went off.
Yeah, we thought maybe you get a telephone call, but
No, actually, I'm using a computer. Actually, I'm not using a telephone.
Okay. Go
So,
ahead.
so basically, the problem is that we have the group that has not signed the revitalized peace agreements, and the reason they were left out it is because some of those political parties actually they were not flexible in terms of their agenda. So everybody's trying to push his party agenda and is not willing to compromise. So if my agenda is not included, then actually I'm not a part of it. Otherwise, that is like group of Thomas Bilo and then those of Emmanuel Ajawin. And the other problem also, the group that was excluded from the peace agreement from the beginning, like those of General Malone, because they say actually they don't want them to be a part of the agreements, and that is the problem. They were left out. And the other thing also is the way that the government handled the national issue or the problem in South Sudan. The government refused Malone to be included in the peace agreement from the beginning, and now is willing to engage those of Malone and even Thomas Cirillo in Rome forums. So there is no clear cutoff in terms of strategy, how we're going to solve the issue of war in South Sudan. So this is one thing. The other thing also, the government is to be blamed here because the government is being promoting a culture of if you rebel and you carry arm, then you will be a part of the government. And therefore, also, those who are in Rome, they signed the agreement, but they see that the government, it seems, to have forgotten their agenda and is no longer interested, and therefore they have to attack the government so that they can send a clear message that we are still here, and therefore you need to come and sign with that agreement. So that is the situation that we are in right now. So one of your speaker actually talk about and he asked question, what real South Sudan they want. I would say that the people of South Sudan, they're tired of war. They need peace. They need to live in peace and harmony, and they need the development to take place. That is the thing that most of the people of South Sudan they want, because really we waste a lot of time and there is no more time to be waste actually. If you look, for example, right now with the current crisis, coronavirus, we got nothing. We got only 4 ventilators for 12 million populations. And even the Dr. John Center that they have is already full right now. And we just have 49 cases. So imagine if the cases gone up later on to something like 1,000 or something, is going to be very difficult. So there is no time need going to be waste anymore. The other thing also, the Dr. Dalarjin claimed that for him going to have going to the magic solution for the people of South Sudan, and he's the only party that has the solution. I don't think that is not true actually, because the problem in the country need going to solve by consensus. There's no any party that could claim that I have the sole and magic solution for the problem of people of South Sudan. So the problem that we have is not the issue of tribalisms, is not the issue of community conflict, the cattle trading and so forth. It's not the issue of lack of constitution. We have constitutions. So our main problem in South Sudan is the issue of leadership. It's an issue that we don't have a leadership that can tackle all the challenges and the government, the South Sudan is having, and it's also unable to achieve the objective and expectation of the people of South Sudan. So these tribalism and the conflict and insecurity, these are, I call them a symptom of a bigger problem, which is the leadership. If you compare, for example, South Sudan to Rwanda, you will see that South Sudan is better than Rwanda by far, but Rwanda is progressing very well. It's not because they have resources; they don't have much resources like the resources that we have in terms of land, in terms of oil, and everything is all in our advantage. Rwanda is better than us because they have the leadership who are capable of solving the problem, putting the agenda of development in place. So basically, the way I have seen the problem in Sudan, and we should learn from Sudan. Sudan, since these NCP they came to power, they go and try to solve the problem. A small part, a small part, a small part. They come and bring. If you become strong in the battlefield, they go and engage you and they bring you on the table. And then another rebellion come in. So this one will not solve the problem. We need to solve this problem once and for good. Even if we are going to engage in a negotiation for a long period, we need to bring everybody on board. And we need to control also people who are jumping from government to opposition and from opposition to the government, because these people who will blow up the current peace agreement also. Because if you guys, Chankwas, you are a partner in peace, you should be an honest partner. There is no need for people jumping from one side to other side, because these are the people who will spoil the agreement, and these are the great politicians who need position. So if I go to Kir and Kir didn't give me positions, I will go back like the group that break away from IO. Some of them, I think they secure a position with the government, and I heard a few days ago, some of them they returned back to the IO. So this thing also need to be stopped, and a new rebellion also need to be stopped. So for South Sudan going to have peace, all the problem need to address once and for all. And then also IO and the government, they need to be a good partners, because what we are seeing right now, the delay that is taking place, we don't have government in the state, and then you need to prepare the state for coronavirus. Who's going to prepare that one? And you guys, you are arguing because you are unable to divide the state among yourself. You don't have much time because it's 3 years. And 3 years, you have wasted a lot of time. So it is a time for you guys going to act. There is no time for reluctant anymore and playing political game because the people, the time is not at your side. The other thing, the other political party who are peaceful political party, they are waiting for you because we don't want going to hear later on that actually the time is not enough. You guys, you want going to push the election ahead of time. That will not be acceptable. So that you guys, you need going to put your thing together and you walk with honestly so that we can be able going to reach going to the end of the interim period.
Okay. Thank you, brother Francis, for your insight. I appreciate it. I think Chankwaja will respond to you, and is truly it is up to the IO and the IG, to be a really true partner. If they want to go after this guy, and if they think these guys are just there, for those who are holding their arm, they are trying to terrorize the situation and use the argument that the IG and the IO actually are not spinning them the feed, so it play on their side, like Chinquet said earlier. So the same to the other political parties as well. They will use that as a tool. But thank you, I appreciate it. Hang on there. Dean, I hope your connection is
Their arm, they
is
are
better
trying to
right now.
terrorize the situation and
I,
use.
I think I hope so. It might be because I'm not sure whether you hear me properly or not.
Yeah, we can hear you now. That's why.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Who is 10? Is it my turn now or what?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Yeah. I would like to thank you again. I've been interrupted by the networks.
Hold on 1 second. Uh,
Yep.
Peter Adwork, if you can
Yes.
put on a clothes, that would be nice for the
Oh,
show.
nice, nice. Okay. You know, the heat here is extremely, but I'll put on a cloak. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, you all
Are you
right
guys?
now?
Go ahead, Dean. Yes.
All right. Yeah. We have seen how the fees and the process, including implementation, there's some issues that sometimes are very hard for others people even to understand. In fact, for me, I know the fees can be started. It doesn't matter how, but the only key is how to follow up and how to implement it. So long the IG and IO they have started that they need the country to be stable country again. There is a fear for other parties because they seem like they are not even part of this peace agreement. Because it is now the IO and the government, they are taking everything. But we here, we do just say that, yeah, we are part of it, and we will see what they will do. And as long it will influence the interests of the citizen, that's all we need. We need the country to back into a peaceful, and therefore everyone will find a way how to work with the government or how to work with NGOs or NGOs or how to or self-employment as well. So to me, I see that there's a lack of the decision making that affect the government as well. There's also the lack of the peace procedures. It also affects the fees. And there's also this fees, it seems like it is not the unified fees for the whole citizen of the country. But what we need, we should urge all parties to participate in this peace process. And this is how the peace will be achieved. I would also like to thank regional and international community for their input. But the implementation is our responsibility. Because all in all, our citizens are suffering. And the image of our country now become so horrible into the whole world eye. Therefore, there's a number of the language that people are always using it. You know, if you could go back to 204 when the CPA, the original CPA, when it was done, John Garang tried to convene Riek to work together, including others, people who were not happy during the movement. He convened them, and then they come together and work as SPLA, SPLM, in order to achieve their objective. That's how the peace should be. So I would like to ask RG and IO to call back for those other parties in order to participate. Otherwise, the peace that will be for RG and IO is not enough for the whole South Sudanese. So, and other people would do say somehow like those of saying that a military, my friend, military is not the solution to the problem of our country. The only solution to our country is let's follow the peace, let's be respectful, and let's forget the past and say this type of tribalism have damaged a lot to our entire country. And indeed, there's a number of things that are need when you are really need peace. The justice and accountability must be put in place. Why they are so important to be put in place is to ensure this thing will not happen again. What do I mean? We may go back to even 1991, 2013, even 15, and up to now, we need to hold people accountable so that the another leadership who may come later in the future will not repeat such atrocities again. But the one thing that when people are committing a crime and they get away with them, then that's how the country now divert into the way we don't even expect it. So for our leaders, they should respect this diversity. It doesn't matter if they are minority or whatever. For those leaders, when you are leader for the people. You are leader who are responsible. You hold the rules and responsibility. That is your work, and that's privilege. It needs to be respected. Now it become like that whenever you've been elected or selected as a minister, you got a whole bunch of criminals behind you who intimidate others, minority, and say no and that. That's not the country we want. If you are a minority, you are minority, and you have to be respected. And there should be no another majority which should live their life on expenses of the minority. That will not happen, and that will not bring the peace in this country. All in all, the Constitution must be respected. This Constitution is the supremacy of the land. And therefore, this Constitution is the framework for any leader, whether a minister or whether a governor, should follow the Constitution. And this is where sometimes you reach out. So we have a lack of practice because these people, we need a lot of things to do with this country, by the way. And I could thank them. They try, because it is not easy sometimes, but they are trying. But what we don't want is like others who say that we are majority and we are the people who will face IG militarily. That's not the language. It's so emotive. It will not help and will not bring peace.
Okay.
Otherwise, Otherwise, if people seen talk like that, you totally discourage the process of the peace and the implementation. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask you, be very patient, be very committed, and respect the process, and treat the country as your own country.
Okay. Thank you, Brother Dink. Uh, your contribution is well taken. It is up to Jinupin and the peace partners. Um, I am sure you are one of the few people who have now said, I guess maybe we have to go back to drawing board and listen to these guys what they are saying. Um, as I said, I'll do this in order in which you gentlemen log in. The next person would be damn, I'm lost. Anyway, Mabir Manut, let me unmute you, and then Francis, not Francis, and then Peter Adwork and Brother Popana. Let me unmute this gentleman. Mabir?
Yes.
Okay, welcome to Lake State Media.
Thank you so much. Thank you, my people. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Chankwat and Ding, and the rest of others who just came now for joining the show. My name is Machbur, and I'm in early 20, so I'm a student in India. I think I'm still younger in the age than you. But when it comes to idea giving regarding our country as a South Sudan, I have the right to give the idea that I have. But it should not be something that cannot be recognized. But the idea is a matter to all of us. I really thanks. And I'll speak on behalf of what I have seen in the ground in South Sudan. And I will not be pointing the finger on a particular party or a particular armed group. No. In the end, we are all South Sudanese, and that country, it's belong to us.
And you have read the topic, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
For those who are still making peace, not to reach to other part of South Sudanese people who are living in other part of South Sudan, those who can make a line for them and put them in line, it's SPLA-IG and SPLM-IO, because they are the fathers and the mothers of everything which was happening in South Sudan. And those parties who came up to also requesting for their interests or for their ideas, and the parties of those who are with weak institution in their mind. When I said weak institution in mind, I mean that those who don't value the human life with their basic. So I would request them, the armed group at this time is not a solution to our country. It's to join each and any party that you think it will help the societies of South Sudan and the young people. For example, now 30 years from now, put in your age as Peter and Chankod and others, 30 years from now, add in your age. How would you look South Sudan to be? And if I add myself 20 years, if I count 20 years from now, how would I see this South Sudan before Chankwada and Peter were ahead of mine, what they have done and others people, what they have done to country. It's kind like they are coming up to bring the people in the table, to give their ideas, forgive everything, and let us stand in one unite as a country. Whatever had happened before, we cannot go back. All the countries happened before. Histories of other countries took place like this before, but they came into the end. So this group of arms, it's SPLMIO and SPLIG, to bring them all in the table, because now they are in Juba together. We don't need something that happen again, people to go into war. And maybe SPLMIO will say, no, I am targeted by government. And some other government will be targeted by saying, no, this is IO came in the country. They don't accept this. We all of us accept this. But for this to be a red line for them, we should not open the door for all people and all the parties without knowing where are they going, and they don't have the vision of the country. So we need to limit and talk openly to them. You need to join IO within Juba, join. You need to join SPLMIG within Juba, join. And other parties who they are in Juba recognized by the government or by other elders, okay, let them have their own statistic of these people in case to put them in the one direction and see where the problem will come against. Because now those people, they are supported by other people who are inside Juba to make insecurity. How can we come up with this? We need to register them. If they have, let's ask them if they have their own parties. Okay, let's bring them their parties. What are their people to be at, and who are still out, not to in the list. So this is what we should do. If we all speak, I think we will not go to the end of these people. They will still make us insecurity, and the people are watching us. And we young people, we're still watching. We may ask ourselves what our elders are doing even. They are not even able to solve this. Is it needs the young people to come and solve it or no? So we need those who are in the top position now to work together within Juba to bring these people within the room of them and make agreement with them. No one should be threatened to the life, and no one should be attacked without even daily meal. There are people now who have still been killed with their daily meal, even they are not getting a one-day meal, and COVID-19 is there. We don't have a humanity. We are watching, young people are watching, but that is not the country that we are expecting as a young people in our 20 years from now to be. So this is my point. And these people don't have to say.
Okay. Thank you, brother Mike Beer. I appreciate your contribution and perspective as well. I think it is worthwhile to say, yes, at this point, all of us agree the current situation we have in South Sudan doesn't need a armed resistance anymore. After all, we know as SPLA, the beginning SPLA, that fight against Khartoum, it took us forever, but at the end of the day, it was not a barrel of the gun. We were able to sit down as a Sudanese and solve our problem. And that problem ending up dividing the country into two. We were the best for both two countries. And others will argue that was the best decision ever made. And that's okay. So for South Sudan, we know it has started in 20, let's say, pick it up on 2013. It was all resistant up to last few years when the peace was signed. And this came to the fact that it was an agreement. It was a peaceful mean, not violent one. So for others who are actually still holding the gun, it is worthwhile to say, let's try the ideology. Let's fight ideology instead of armed resistance. If you feel like there is a room on IO side where you can make a case that your ideology based with them, Okay, you are highly welcome. The same to the other side of the government. Right now, uh, the article that made me this show talk actually about the political base and constituency. If you look at our armed resistance, for example, let's say NAS, are you saying now it's Equatorial? If you talk about Equatoria, then Equatoria is a region. It become you don't know exactly how many you are talking about a Belgio situation here. Uh, do you have a people from Eastern Equatoria? Do you have a people from Western Equatoria, Central Equatoria? If that's the case, the same thing to those of Malone. If you look at it, okay, a Barkazar region, who do you have another, that make it inclusive that you say, well, we have a political base because it's this and this and this constituency that are actually dissident. So that thing is not there yet. But thank you. I don't want to take a time, but I was kind of pumped about the way you put it here that, let's look at another angle. Everything is not about the violence. Violence is not taking us anywhere. Let me give this chance to Brother Peter Adwo. I believe you said it is hard out there, and I'll make sure I give you a time that I will let you go.
No, thank you, thank you very much, brothers in the forum. I greet you all in our name of our Lord Jesus Christ, and I hope you are well wherever you are and safe from the current epidemic of COVID-19, which is, I think, the coronavirus.
Yeah.
I greet you all from our. I'm currently in Khartoum, and I greet you from. The greetings come from our people from down in the ground. For the last 1.5 years, I've been in the ground, and I've seen it all. Even the current peace that is there on in Upper Nile, some of us were the ones who actually went and we worked on it to a point that it is standing, still standing. As you all know, that Upper Nile was the first place that actually the peace agreement that was signed in the Khartoum here was implemented. At the current time, if I may just go back briefly on what is happening on the ground, not whatever is happening in Juba. It is that the political affiliations that are there, the forces and all that, they have come to a common understanding is that there needs to be peace that is happening. There needs to be peace. And the peace must be implemented whether the politicians want it or not. The current political issue that is happening within Juba, it does not give a good sign that there is peace. The security arrangements is not being implemented. The forces that are on the ground are still at the training fields, and the ones who are on cantonment sites are still on the cantonment sites. The thing is this: there's a problem in Juba, and the problem is there are people, individuals who are not willing to implement the peace agreement because I think they feel that money is not going to get into their pockets, or they will be held accountable. And this the fear of being held accountable is what is making the peace agreement not go ahead. Now, the common South Sudanese on the ground is happy to be with each other. This is the honest truth that I'm telling you. Despite your political affiliation, or despite the fact that you're from different ethnic groups, my focus is I would want everybody who is in the diaspora and entire globe in South Sudan, whether they're listening to me right now, is that they should start implementing the peace with themselves. If you're at peace with yourself, then you are able to we will have a general peace within our neighbors and everybody else. One thing that I have to tell you is that from the ground point of view is that there's absolutely nothing that whether it's peace, It's there according to the people who live around themselves. They will come to a common agreement that, hey, listen, I don't want to die. I've suffered for the last 6 years and all that. But if people in Juba or the leaders, the so-called leaders that are in Juba, if they don't make an agreement, I mean, if they don't start implementing the peace agreement to the letter, then I believe if there's anything that will happen, it will happen only in Juba. It will not happen on the ground where, let's say, from where I come, where I was, the upper Nile region. There will be nobody who has a stomach and the interest to fight. That is my personal opinion, and I appreciate you welcoming me to the show, Comrade Peter Wine. Chenkot, I greet you. It has been a long time. Benjamin, everybody else who I can see on my screen here, I greet you all, and I'm happy to be here to just brief you a bit of what is happening on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Peter. Peter Adok. I hope I will see you next time. It is all absolutely our collective responsibility, and it's also very important to make sure those who are in Juba actually feel safe, to feel the peace. After all, we are in peaceful world. No matter what we say here, it doesn't affect us until we lost someone. But at least those people that actually worry about their life. So thank you, Brother Dwok. Let me unmute you, Comrade Kwamek. I don't know if I pronounced your name right. If I don't, then I am sincerely apologize. Let me unmute you 1 second.
All right, has lost a mute. All right, thank you. Are you there?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much. First of all, I'm not from Sudan, but I have vast interest in Sudan. And most importantly, I'm African. So we all brothers and sisters before the colonial demarcations. So we have to understand that. I listened to the comment and the suggestion from the various participants. So I was highly interested. So I decided to be part of the conversations if I'm allowed. I have nothing.
You are absolutely welcome.
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to say greeting to all of you as brothers and family. We all have one common goal, and that is the prosperity of Africa. If Africa prospers, all regions will prosper. Africa have fallen into destitution despite all of the wealth they have, simply because there's lack of certain aspects that have not been put in place. First of all, if one want to have something, you have to be very simple and clear what you want. If you want water, just be simple, say water. I want water. But that has not been clear in Africa. Then second, you have to put in place how you want it, how you want to get it. Do you want to work for it? You want to rob a bank to achieve your goal? Then you have to put the strategies, which is a mechanism how to achieve that. In every country in the world that went to war, they fought themselves, including the United States. After United States independent war, they went to civil war because their goal was to get the British out of America. So they have to amend the constitution gradually to accommodate what it is today as America. So I think the problem in Sudan was all want to have their own country, but there was no strategies in play how to govern and manage their own country. So if the Sudan does not go back to the drawing table, now we have our own country. How do we want to manage this country? At one point in time, the whole of Africa engulfed in war in the 70s, 80s. Only a few countries left behind because the goal was independent. After the independence, the rest, They never knew what actually they wanted. Because the government itself, the behavior of the government and individual itself can become a war. For example, if my own country, Liberia,
Kwame,
yes, sir.
um, my viewers are asking what part of Africa are you from?
Liberia. I'm from Liberia.
Okay, go ahead.
West Africa. Okay.
Okay.
So the progress in Liberia at one point in time, Liberia is an old independent nation in Africa with huge wealth in place. All right. Now, the world was not used to the beneficiary of the citizens, only those in charge of the powers. That itself was a recipe for war, and that's a war you saw in Liberia in 1989 through 1990s. So everyday government activities in Africa, they invite war because we always focus on war, but we don't focus the root cause of war. So at some time we succeed to stop the war, but the war come by because we don't focus on the root cause. What are the root cause of war? Lack of transparencies, lack of fair and independent judicial systems, or equal distributions of wealth, or taking the citizen into consideration. So if these things are not in place, there's a presence of war in that community. It is just a matter of when. This is why it's taking place in Africa. And today it's more present because the populations are expanding. The need of the populations have become so big. If the government became to behave the way they used to behave in the 60s and 70s, definitely we are not going to live from where we are. Like Sudan, very rich country. The land itself is rich. Sudan can be used for agriculture for the entire continent of Africa. And the money, since the Sudan independent, the money that they have spent in the weapon, if they was to put that money into community development, manpower, building capacities, hospitals, schools, advance the educational system, young men and women of Sudanese who were born in the various countries in refugee camp, putting them together and send them for studies. Malaysia did the same thing. Malaysia is 1950 independent nation. After they're independent, they came together. What we want? They put 50,000 young men together and send them away. British, United States, Canada, France, different disciplinary. The result today, Malaysia build their own railway, they build their own telecommunication, they have control of their own resources. All right. Then when the South Korea has their independence, they went into Korea War 1950 up to the 70s. It was one of the poorest countries in the entire Asian continent. They came together. They said, we have no rubles, we have no oil, we have no silver, we have no diamond, we have no gold. What can we do? They invested their country resources into education. Today, they are number one when it comes to science. When you look into United Nations statistics, it's among the 7 best countries in the world that spend 28% of their GDP in education. The result, you see something, not only as electronic communication, but as store, okay, has everything refrigerators, become the number one electronic giants in the world. When I was born in the 70s, the vehicle today you see as Hyundai was Pony, was one of the poorest cars, very poorly designed. Today is the number one selling car in the world, past Toyota, because they ask themselves what we want, how we want it. So Africa, no one has a manipulate over education. Okay? Bill Gates, Mike Zuckerberg can come from any community if you want it, if you strive for it. So my advice to the brother, not to take your time, I love you guys, and the Sudan has gone through a terrible time throughout their history. And not because they wanted it, they invited to themselves. So what you're doing right now, because life itself is not worth if the life does not impact the life of another person. Even if all of us can take telephone and call somebody in Sudan, wash your hand, and that be the cause for that person to be prevented from getting disease, we have impacted that person's life. So that's what I was so happy to be part of it. The initiative you have taken, it is so important to extend the initiative to the people of Sudanese, to conscientize their mind so that where they came from, they can't go back there. That we all want this land is belong to all of us. No one Sudanese is important than another Sudanese. Regardless of what, you can push me out of here, I can push you out of here. If any one of us go outside, we are refugees. We don't have the right that we have here. Let the contractization begin so the politician can have the way no more to divide the citizenry. So I want to stop there and tell you guys thank you. I really love Sudan, and I intending to go to Sudan myself. So my name is Kwame Fofana. I'm from Liberia, residing in the United States. Thank you for allowing me to talk.
Thank you, brother Kwame. We really appreciate and we are thankful that you were able to join our conversation. We African, our problem, one particular African problem is all our problem because it is the same thing. It is start with our leadership and come down to a bad leadership and followed by the greediness. So wherever there is a conflict in Africa, I like the fact that our own brother African, they resonate our issues with their own. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully next time you are welcome anytime if you want to be a part of the conversation.
Thank you so much.
And have a wonderful night. Yeah.
You too, my brother. Thank you.
Oh, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So without taking time, it's really getting late here for me, and I want to go to bed as well. Uh, I will give last word for those who are still here on the panel, and I will let everybody go. And Chinkwadi will wrap it up as always. But Yamana, only 1 minute for each person. What have you learned, and what is the way forward in a minute? It's only 1 minute. Let me see. Gabriel,
Yes.
what have you learned? And you have a minute. And what is the way
Okay.
forward?
Thank you, Peter. Just what I was request before, I want Chankwa to reply for what I suggest. So for something to bring us together between the two leaders, like amazing. يعني هم طلعوا بيان وطلعوا الورقة باعتبارين ان احنا في حكومة ان احنا ما في opposition وما في government. This is only one government now has been made, informed as a coalition government. That is true or not? I want that to like the two leaders to stop until the time of the election, to stop the defector from the group, like did تعليم من الحكومة وماشيين لآيو وده تعليم من الآيو وماشيين للحكومة. This is look like a gameplay. That's what I want to the view of Shankwes for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Lad. Dingakoy, one word, last word, 1 minute. What have you learned? What is the way forward?
Yeah, in fact, what I learned in the debate, in this debate, and also the process of the fees, as there's a lot of contradiction in the fees process. But what I learn now, and it should be for everyone who is listening as well, that such a debate we are debating here is so healthy. and it also promotes the understanding of one another and respect one another. And if we want to have to be the future of that nation, we also need to understand and respect once and foremost, because this country is belong to everyone. It's for all of us. So therefore, the impact of the problem that's been mentioned by one of the guy who was just spoken and left, which is from Liberia, that is very good statement. He said that the effect of the or the suffering, which are now become a common issues in Africa, is a lack of leadership and individual behaviors. So that's it true. What affecting us is lack of a leadership, and that's lack of leadership sometimes because they're lacking a lot of things how they should, what is constitution, and how
Okay.
constitution should work, and how it should be applied. This is the problem affecting us. And indeed, our conversation is hopefully good, and I like it. And in fact, forward, we should respect those diversities. They are very important, and they have a major contribution to this country. It doesn't matter how many they are, and whatever they do, they have to be respected because they are part of this country. And
Oh,
thanks, yeah.
okay. Just want to let you know, nobody talking about particular show or a group. We are talking about a armed group and the political parties. For a social media group, it is up to the individual. That's a freedom they have. They can say whatever they say. It doesn't matter. So, thank you, brother. Next, who do I have on the list? A call. 1 minute. What have you learned? Oh, hold on 1 second. I took you up. Instead of unmuting you, I took you up. What have you learned and what is the way forward? 1 minute.
What I learned, actually, I learned a lot from our people here and one of the brother who just talked earlier. Yes, I learned how we all feel about. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Yes. I learned how we are all feeling from the perspective of individual contribution and how one talk here on this forum. So I learned that I learned from the guests of Liberian guy who just talked here, asking us that we don't know what we want. It is not that because we don't know what we want, we know what we want. But with a tribal mindset, we are confusing ourselves. And I think here, based on our contribution tonight, what I learned that we all need one thing. We all need peace so that we can prosper and catch up with other countries, you know. But we South Sudanese, we need to understand and admit that most majority of us are tribal mindset. We need to forget that tribal mindset. We need you to treat yourself as a product of South Sudan. John Garang, when he went to school, his parents sent him to school, but he came and lead our movement. He didn't lead the movement for his family. He came and lead the movement for all South Sudanese. The same Salva Kiir, when he went to school, his parents paid for him, but he came to the bush and fought for our country. You know, we are all born smart. The problem here is that nobody lack of leadership. Is because that we are tribal mindset. We just say, if my tribe guy didn't do it, I mean, he's not the one doing this, I'm not going to listen to this guy. Some even call the government that it is their government. It was our government because our son was leading it and all this, you know. And some even claim why we all fought together. How come some people came and enjoyed the government? But no, that's not the case. Treat yourself as a product of South Sudan. You can be a medical doctor and a medical doctor for whole South Sudan. You can be a scientist, but you can be all scientists of whom we can proud in South Sudan. This is how we have to think and learn that way, our country will be in peace. Now we confuse ourselves, and yet we know what we are doing. It's all because some people want to squeeze in their tribemen, and the other people think, oh, our tribe people left out. We don't see one person. And then we start glorifying all these guys, you know. The Salva Kiir's salary does not pay the whole region where he come from, or the small tribe he come from. It pay only him. Dr. Yang Machar's salary doesn't even pay the whole Nuer. It only paid him and his wife. All these ministers, all these generals pay for their family. They don't pay for all of us. If we don't glorify the people,
Okay.
we will be better country. And thank you. I learned a lot that we all need to come together and have dialogue. And then when you come here, think that you are a South Sudanese. Don't think that you are a tribe guy. You want to be a leader for your tribe. You are you localize yourself. Thinking of ruling the world. I thought of South Sudan people should be genius, and then we can control the world too. I feel that I should go back and regrow again with education. I will be a scientist and try to produce weapons too to make South Sudan a super country in this world. We all should think that way and educate our kids.
You will have a problem with your own country here. But anyway, thank you, brother Akol. As always, nice to have you. Lastly, no, well, not lastly, brother Majbir, let me unmute you. 1 minute. What have you learned? What is the way forward?
Thank you for backing me again. What I've learned is, especially from the view of our brother from Africa in other country, who came in our show and see us what we are discussing for is something that for our country. And he had his own view, saying whatever he said. Yes, we have seen it. And all South Sudan, we have to come like this. When people are commenting on our show, adding their view, we see ourselves in Africa as we are a country struggling to get our own way like other countries who got independent before. So as he said, a government is a problem in other countries in Africa. But for me, I have seen a leadership is not a position. A leadership is someone, the way that he is behaved from the background that can help the societies to move up forward and do something for the societies. This is what I understand from leadership. So in our country, a leadership is taken in the wrong way. You are in my tribe, you are in my group, okay, you support me, I will do this, but not for common interest. A country is for common interest. That is a leadership is. Leadership is work for common interest. And I have learned a lot, like whatever Chankwa and you, Peter, and other brothers who are there before. So I have learned from you a lot. As I am a young guy, so I also learn from you. That is how people are coming together. And thank you.
Thank you, brother Majbir. Brother Chinkwat, I'll rather give you a couple of minutes, respond to earlier questions sent to you and your last word as well.
Thank you.
What have you learned? What is the way forward?
Okay. I will leave that question of what we have learned to my last couple of seconds.
Okay.
Let me just try to go directly to the issues that we have addressed from the time we have, reopened this second show. I think all of us, based on the topic, someone got a background noise, huh?
Let
based
me
on
see
the topic,
if I can mute people.
So, Brother Peter, based on the topic of your choice, as we have all agreed before that the whole art group has a role to play, but the role should not be to sabotage the peace or abrogate the peace so that our people can go back to war. That role should be discouraged, not only by the partners in the peace, but also by the concerned citizens of South Sudan, as well as the guarantors and the international community. By so doing, it would, speed up probably the process in which need to be taken by our leaders to give us a peace that we dearly deserve. Let us also agree that the whole art groups are components of our country. They are part and parcel of our country. They also have a stake, but the stake should not be advancing the spirit of war at a time when we are in search for peace. They should be participants on the peace table so that we gear our country for a new beginning. My fellow countrymen, the erratic behaviors that we have seen constantly on a regular basis by individuals and maybe allies of the parties that are holds out, the spirit in which they've been advocating cannot help to bring peace to the people. The only way to bring peace to the people is for the whole art group, especially those of the Soma, to adhere to the signing of the Declaration of the Rome in February, where they have signed a cessation of hostility, and they have to respect that. And by so doing, when they respect the cessation of hostility, they will continue to seek for a better way that they can be involved in the peace process. And by doing that, they will be part of the peace process, because that country needs all of us. It will not thrive through my only intentions or your intention. It needs our collective responsibility. There was questions that were brought forth by our fellow brothers, although I might not touch all of them due to the time. Let me mention one particular concern that came from our brother Gabriel Alad. Gabriel Alad was concerned about the continuous defections by individuals from one side to the other. And he was concerned because if we are indeed at time of peace, these defections should not be encouraged to take place, whether they are from IO to the government, to the SPLM-IG, or from SPLM-IG to the IO or to other parties. It is not only we that are saying this. This has been stipulated in chapter 2 of the peace agreement. In chapter 2 of the peace agreement, which is a transitional justice, the ceasefire in the Republic of South Sudan, it addressed all these things. It discouraged any movement of individual from one side to the other while we have got this peace in place. Why is it important? And why is it that we should observe this? If we fail to put this in action, it will cause mistrust among the parties to the peace agreement. It will also cause furthermore violation of the peace agreement, because other parties will point fingers, maybe let's say to the SPLM-IG or to the SPLM-IO, blaming them of encouraging more defections. So I believe if our parties and our leaders are willing to implement the peace agreement in letter and spirit, they must cooperate with the document and discourage people moving back and forth. And that will bring an end to all these self-centered decision makings. Because all these decisions that are encouraging our people to move back and forth, somehow they might be encouraged by the leaders of the parties or allies of certain parties. So by our leaders, if they want us to trust them and believe in what they are doing in Juba, they must be united in discouraging defections. Because if we do not discourage defection, of course, Brother Gabriel will be right in his concern. There will be no peace, because more mistrust will come up. I do not support the spirit of defection because I believe in the reform agenda that we have. I believe in the ideology of the movement. If the ideology of the movement is what made me to sign the peace agreement, then I will trust my party to make sure that peace is implemented. And there is nothing that will cause me to defect. Okay. One of our brother, I think it's Francis, has brought an important issue, which is part of this topic, that these people, the whole art group, should have a very specific agenda that they need to drive so that they can be understood and be incorporated or be part of the peace process. And I agree with this guy called Francis. His insertion is true. Because if you look at the way the whole art group are carrying themselves, the way they manifest themselves on social media and all the other media's front, they do not have a genuine, a genuine point in which they can advocate on. Majority of them are advocating based on the self-centered partisan. For example, let's say our brother Emmanuel Ajawin, he called himself a member of the SOMA, and indeed I think he has got a position. He's a secretary in the SOMA. Whereas here, when he comes to speak, he's speaking in the language of someone who is running his own party that is not partisan of the SOMA. And therefore, you go to the other ones, the likes of Sister Teresa, who is, I think she's an assistant information secretary to in NAS. When they speak out, you find a lot of confusion. You get confused, and that is why the people of South Sudan become impatient in listening to these people, because they do not have a well-defined direction in which we can identify them, and that is why I term them the mischievous characters. So brothers and sisters, Brother Francis have got a very valid point. If we were to bring these people to the peace table, they have to be very specific about what they need and what is the expectation really. Let them not come to preach to me that they need the root causes to be discussed. If I ask them a question, what root causes do they know more than their SPLM-IO? Of course, they will not give me a better answer. Because if there are people that need the root causes, and if there are people that genuinely need the root causes to be addressed, it would be the SPLM-IO first. And all of us can agree on this, that it was the SPLM-IO that demanded for the root causes to be addressed in Addis Ababa. But through negotiation and through advices from the international community, the SPLM-IO came to agreement that through peace process, the root causes shall be discussed. How are the root causes going to be discussed? They have been addressed in the chapter 5, of the peace agreement. If we have peace in the country, the very elusive prize that we cannot let go easily is peace. How can we anchor peace in the Republic of South Sudan? By making sure we implement this document. Once we implement the document, all the root causes, they will be addressed through transitional justice, accountability and reconciliation, and national healing, which has been part and parcel of the peace agreement. It is in the chapter 5. The chapter 5, Brother Peter, let me highlight three important things. For those who have never had a chance to read this document, in chapter 5, 5.1, it says, the agreed principle for transitional justice are that there will be the Commission for Truth, Reconciliation, and Healing, which is the national healing. You can also call it national reconciliation. There will be a setup for Commission for Truth, Reconciliation and Healing. Part 2, there will be an independent hybrid judicial body to be known as the Hybrid Court for South Sudan. What does this hybrid court is going to do, Brother Peter? It will address the conflict in details, and there will be people that will be tried and be put into accountability. And if you are found guilty of everything that we have witnessed throughout the 7 years period, then you will be taken, to prison, or maybe you will be charged and imprisoned. Or some of them, if we still have this kind of brutal killing, then some of them can even be subjected to fire squad, if we have that. But it cannot be addressed as we speak because we are still in war. The language we use does not, give a conducive environment for accountability, justice, reparation, and national healing. Let me go back to. Let me go to this one. Our parties need to have a strategy to end the war. What is our strategy to end the war? For me, I believe the strategy to end the war is this peace agreement that we have signed. If we fail to implement this peace agreement that we have signed, although there are win and loss situations to all the parties to the peace agreement, there has to be a willingness to implement it. By so doing, we are going to create a conducive environment that will allow us to have a strategy further to end the war in the country. There can be no individual or personal solution to the current conflict. And by saying this, I'm trying to respond to a statement of our brother, Comrade Doa Largin, where he have said, and he have been saying this more often, that he has got a unanimous way of solving the South Sudanese problem. He reckoned the problem is tribalism, and let us address the tribalism. And this guy has been very constant on this statement. And let me try to respond to him. Let us be honest. South Sudan is a nation that is constituted of tribes. Without tribes, there can be no South Sudan. And for us to say our tribes are the problems, we cannot be genuinely right about our own issues. Our tribes are not the problem. We have bigger problems than our tribes. The problem that we are seeing our tribe being engulfed in is that our tribes are being glued into problems that are being orchestrated by individuals. Individuals that are politicians has ability to create problems, and then they will actually drag the tribes into the problems. How will we end this? Once we have peace back in the country, there will be national healing, national dialogue, where the tribes of South Sudan will speak among themselves. They will see the destruction that is being brought to them by who? By the politician. And by so doing, we are going to address what we term tribalism. Tribalism will also be addressed through national healing, because once we speak among ourselves, we will be able to understand that we share that country. Whether you are a Dinka, whether you are a Kakwa, you are a Fujulu, you are a Nuer, you are a Fertit, you are equal regardless of your number and your standing. We are all equal, and the sooner we will address that, we are going to address tribalism indirectly. We can never say we have a tribalism problem in the Republic of South Sudan, because if we have a very good government, we have a very good laid down foundation, Brother Peter, how will I come to my tribe as a Nuer and use them to kill Dinkas. It will not happen. Look at the nations around the world. They thrive based on a foundation that have been laid forth by their forebears. In the Republic of South Sudan, we do not have a laid foundation. I believe once we have peace and we sit and discuss issues that has brought heartache and long suffering to our people, we are going to indirectly drive away the sentiment of tribalism. And we are going to usher in a new beginning for the people of South Sudan, that it is only through dialogue, it is only through debate as we are doing that can gear us forward as a people and a country, as a people and the nation of South Sudan. Let me compliment what my brother Peter Adok said. He have said that our people on the ground, they don't want to be dragged into the war again. Okay? It is a very strong statement made by someone who has worn the uniform, someone who have carried a gun, someone who have witnessed the horrific scenes at first hand. So him coming here today to tell us that our people on the ground want to see our leaders to bring peace and lasting genuine peace, it is a very touching statement. And I support him on that. Do our leaders support him? We are yet to see. Because if our leaders support these voices, by now we should have had a national parliament in place. Remember April 30th was the deadline for Salva Kiir to what? To decree out the former R-TGONU parliamentarian, or to remove them and reappoint them in the new spirit of peace. Has he done that? I believe not. He has been given again after the December 30. He was supposed to have 10 days together with all the parties to put the new parliament in place. Now we are up to when? Today is the 4th of May.
Yes.
Do we have these people in place? No, not yet. Brothers and sisters, our leaders cannot be serious. Because time has gone, let me go to my conclusion. Let me go to my conclusion. My dear countrymen, I feel so privileged to be the last person to speak. And it will be demeaning to all the speakers if I were to come here and start to reopen the spirit of war that I've seen in the first video. To make peace with ourselves and to make peace with the environment that we have created today, I have to compliment the great statement from our fellow African brother, Kwame Fofana. You have mentioned a very great statement that I noted, that, the problem of Africa, or we African, or the Africa as a continent, has fallen into this, into a destitution in spite of all the natural resources that we possess. And that we are we are holding our own people into a life of refugee, into a life of poverty, while we sit on natural wealth. This is a great statement, and we have to compliment him for that. And thank you for coming to our shows. In my conclusion, you have asked a question, and this is important because as we go along, Brother Peter, it is crucially important that at the end of the topic, you need to ask, what have we learned from the topic that we have presented for the last 8 hours? Because if we do not have anything to learn from what we have discussed, what is the need of us talking here? In my own ways of defining what I've learned, I believe through discussion, I understand that we can be able to define our missions and our visions. Whether you are a member of the SPLMIO, we must discuss our visions, our missions, and our ideologies so that the people of South Sudan will understand why we are in war and what do we need in the process of war once it's end. Because we cannot be in war and we don't know our mission, we don't have a well-defined mission and vision. Most of the parties that we see arguing today, some of them do not have a mission. They do not have a well-defined mission. And therefore, this is one thing that I've learned, that we must define our missions and our visions. Once we have a defined mission and vision and we come to present it to the people, one thing I have learned also is to listen and understand ourselves as one people. I must talk here, and everything I'm speaking, you need to understand, and you have to lend me your ears, so that at least there will be one thing that I will use to persuade you. And also, when you speak, I will listen, and I give you the room to talk to me. You might even convince me. Once we have that, then it is going to help us into the future. I have also learned, in my own words, that true leadership and skill, are required if we are to bring an end to the suffering of our people. True leadership and skill required are important. Why are they important? They are important because we need to deliver services to the people and the nation as a whole. Once we do that, we shall be able to eradicate poverty, nepotism that we always talk about. We will eradicate corruption. We will get rid of tribalism, by doing what? By creating mechanism which shall end the suffering of our people. Once we have all this well-established mechanism, we are going to indirectly address the issues of tribalism. And once we address all these issues, and tribalism become a point of identifying ourselves as citizens of South Sudan, although you know where you come from, South Sudan must be our umbrella. Once we lift up the umbrella of South Sudan as our identity, then we will use our tribes as a point of unity. We unite our tribes and lift the umbrella of South Sudan. But if we do not unite our tribes, we will break the umbrella of South Sudan. There can be no South Sudan without the unifying of our fellow tribes and tribesmen. Thank you, Brother Peter. And lastly, may God bless all of us, and I hope next time we'll meet again.
Thank you, Brother.
Unless you have a question.
Thank you, Brother Chinquas. It is getting late. I will ask you next time. I know I remind you that I will have a question for you, but for me it's getting out of hand. I have been here. If I were to be paid, I would have been making good money. As we know, time here is money. But because of our nation, if I have that time to give, and if it is going to be productive, mashallah, I would do that at any time, any day. First of all, I also want to say thank you to the panels, those who have joined the podium, and also those who are watching and also participating on the comment section. This is a great learning experience. Sometimes when we have a productive discussion, we get a response. And the good example is actually I'm so grateful that someone, an African, have joined our show, listened carefully, and decided that it is a time to add something based on our discussion, based on our conversation, where we are not insulting each other, where we are not fighting each other like our own leaders. And the basic principle is that we have to find a solution, and that solution come in form of discussion. First of all, I want to apologize to Nas if the name came out really like multiple time, or to Soma, because we have learned they also have to be a part of the problem. I mean, part of the solution, and they are the part of the problem because they still hold gun. And yet, at this point, that's the last thing we want, for someone to lose just because we want to fight so we can solve our problem. I know there is no NAS or any of the other supporting group have joined the show tonight and say and respond on behalf of their group as a arm group. I want to appreciate Emmanuel Ajoin for coming in to represent NDM, and also the other party, the IO and the IG. Their supporters were here all night because it is a legitimate concern. Are they also a part of peace process? Are they a part of peace building? If they are not, how are they going to be? And we just learned that one serious note is that they have to be specific on what they want, and let fight ideology and not the sectional or regional, where we say, oh, NAS majority they came from Equatoria. After all, if you say Eastern Equatoria, probably majority of them probably they are the government supported. The same thing to Central Equatoria, maybe it's the same thing to Western Equatoria. But then instead of fighting regional, tribal, let's fight ideology and look at these two groups. Because when it comes down to ideology, the democracy that we want actually is the enemy of minority. Why? If we come down to election, those little minority that maybe now have a chance that they are represented through appointment, they might not have a chance at all because they are minority. So it is better for us as South Sudanese to fight ideology. Which ideology can we govern ourselves and make sure we are purpose nation? And this is all. So I want to say thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And my recommendation to all of you, if you have a specific topic that you feel it need a nation attention, please let us know. The topic we're discussing here, it did not come from us, like state media, but it is the article that someone sent us, and we look into it and we say it's a legitimate concern. So we are just saying, oh, IGIO. What about the other parties that are not a part of the revitalization peace agreement? What are they? Where do they get in here and help build the nation? So thank you. Your contribution motivate others, and they resonate with you. And I think they felt your ideology, the way you want it, is the right way. And I want to say thank you for being a part of Lagos State Media. And I hope I will see you guys next time. I don't know when I will do the next show, but hopefully we can do it anytime, any day when we have, um, an agenda that is actually relevant to our situation. Here we are not a motivational speakers where we can sit all the screen, say our mind, all we want that we know more about Junub Sudan. No, that's not the case here at Lagos State Media. We want you Southerners actually to say what you have. Maybe that's the exact solution, but not what I know. And this is what is killing us. If I say I know more, I am degrading the others who actually knows more than I do. And again, I want to say thank you for tuning in. Keep the discussion clean. To brother Emmanuel and Nyakol, please this is what debate is all about. Sometimes we are all human. It can go out of hand. It can go crazy. We've seen a lot of videos around the world where people actually beat each other in a parliament with the chairs. So it's the same debate. If you guys went out and think get a little bit rough, it is okay. Here at Legacy Media, we can live with it. Our viewers also can live with it, and I believe you gentlemen can live with it as well. And that will be my last word for the night. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. Have a wonderful morning and evening or wherever you are. Good night, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, Chiangkot.
Angui loy mon.
Tell a dorma.
Angui lorod mon.
No, my yin time, yeah, yin jam 30 minutes, where and you 1 minute, but next time. You dictator along. How come you take long time?
Dictator bitachunu mon.
Mind you took long time talking. You win selfie. You